Because uh, private means nobody can join. Unlisted means people can join and people can find them um, when it's done streaming if they have the link. So I'm gonna just start drawing soon. I'll still try to answer some questions, but I just mostly want to draw. Some of you might have seen this reference before. Gonna be some lighting study and elementals like fire. Oh, what the heck? I have a pretty set goal on what I want to draw today. I didn't stop taking commissions. I just have three right now that I need to finish, and I need to spend more time teaching than doing commissions at the moment. But I'll open it up again in the near future. I don't have time right now. And I really need to practice. Like I haven't had time to practice much either. Uh, no, I don't take art classes. I teach them. But yeah, I'm full-time art related stuff right now. I might take well, like join workshops depending on the type of medium in the future. I'm not sure. How long can you go? I mean, you can go as long as you want without practice, but it's I don't feel comfortable doing that. I teach both online and in person. I am watching Witch Hat, yeah. It's very good. Well, glad it helped. I'll have more demos this week. I'm actually trying to organize is a strong word, but I'm trying to get ready for the next session of mentorships in the near future. But I want to take like a break in between. Teaching's been okay. Like I prefer teaching online so far. I think I would prefer teaching in person if I could find like students are like older and more interested in art. But right now it's more just casual. Oh hi. Could you make some tutorial videos and share on YouTube? I thought about doing that, but there's so much tutorials out there and I don't really want to make tutorials out without context. And I mean, I already go over like tutorial like stuff in my classes, like that. I mean, yeah, granted they are paid for, but I also don't really have free time to like make content. Like I actually either I'm doing commissions or I am teaching. So like if I had extra time, I would do it, but or I would at least consider it. But I can't. Unfortunately, as much as it would be interesting to do, I can't just make tutorials and try to avoid my bills. Does it feel like more housework? I wonder if I should turn this into a witch hat fan art thing. I mean, this has nothing to do with witch hat, but I could just toss in the random character. That's Rex G99. Those are very broad questions. Um, you practice environment by drawing environment. It's, there's no, it's not really that complicated. It's like difficult, but there's no, there's not really a secret sauce answer, you know? Like I wish there was a secret sauce answer, but like I'm also just practicing, right? So, so this is supposed to be fire. Yeah, I don't stream as often now because I got busier, but like from teaching, but if I could make money from streaming art, that would be great. Then I would stream more, but yeah, I gotta actually do other stuff to make money. So Yeah, I do art full time, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is my free time ish. Uh, I simply have no free time anymore. Emotions are portrait. They look like the emotions look flat or the portrait look flat. Face looks flat. Practice form. That doesn't really have much to do with emotions. It's hard to draw the glow. Like, It is a faucet, yes. How to make more expressive portraits. Okay, I'll talk through it. And maybe you guys will understand why I don't answer these kind of questions. So to make expressive portraits, first you have to think like what makes you think a portrait looks expressive. So the first thing we can see in a painting is like the mood, right? So the overall theme, the color, whether it's like dark, light, if it's colorful. So we already assign like a mm, like kind of this first impression, even without seeing what the painting or the picture is about. So mm, and then after that, once we see the character or the person, assuming you're drawing people, we start looking at the expression, the way the character is posed, the angle. So if you have someone posing like facing down, it's gonna have a different expression as someone who's looking up, like looking down might seem more like depressed or something, but that's not a rule, right? So okay, so after the pose, you look at the facial features. Like, are they smiling? Are they crying? Are they doing something? Is there any like contextual clues? Like, is there words? Is there like a action? Like any like story type clues? Like, is there a picture of a report card that's all Fs? You know, that could also be something that would guide the viewer to like a specific type of emotion we want them to feel. And now we run into the problem of like how to draw expressions. So expressions could include stuff like, okay, like which muscles do you pull if you want to smile, if you want to frown, how those muscles move, depends on, you know, the the angle, what's the character doing, and then now you have to learn anatomy, which if you now you need perspective, you need anatomy, you need form and lighting. So in order to make your drawings more expressive, such a vague word, you need to learn all that. Now, of course, I can go over many of the things you need to do to learn all that, but we would be here for weeks. So that's why I don't answer these type of questions because it's too vague. There's no way for me to answer it unless I know where you are at, where you're at. So, like for example, if I said, "Oh yeah, just make your form better," what if you're really really good at form already? That that advice would be useless to you, right? So that's you might as well say, "How do I paint better?" The eye is what most people ignore and explain. No, it's not. The eye is what people focus on, and then they don't they ignore everything else, all the subtleties. Like every anime artist start with eyes, and then you know they ignore everything else, right? So it's not like I'm gatekeeping by saying, oh, like take my mentorship or whatever, because these are mentorship type questions. Like if I sit here and answer you, then it would be unfair to everybody else if I just like, oh, let me like just turn the stream into answering one question because it will take the entire, 3 hours, however long I'm gonna stream, to answer those kind of questions, even like as a to just give context. So yeah, you must be the heavenly sect, yellow core Dao student, disciple. I mean, for me to impart that knowledge. Obviously. It's not like it's unfair for people who paid. Like even before that issue, the issue is I don't even have time. So let's say I'm fine giving away information, which I was before I started full-time teaching and quitting my job or not getting a different job that's not art related. That means I have to actually dedicate some of my time to paying bills. So if I just teach everybody and like spend all my time making tutorials and answering questions, yes, I would have very high, Discord levels, but I would probably starve to death in like 2 months. So I wouldn't be able to teach anybody. Right? That's why I make people pay. Also because I'm addicted to boba. So well, teaching definitely helps, but it really depends on what and who you teach. So I teach like a very big range of ages, and some ranges are less fruitful than others. Yeah, to put it nicely. If I teach really complicated stuff, then it would be a practice for me too because it's difficult even for me. Like I have to think about it. But if I just teach like, oh, how this is how you hold a pencil, this is how you clean your brush, and or this is how you set up, uh, you know, how colors work and in the software and stuff, then we're like press B for brush or P for brush in Clip Studio. Then I'm not really spending my time learning. I'm just regurgitating like what could be looked up on Google. So yeah, no, I literally have kids like students who are 5 years old, and it's not very like it doesn't really have much to do with art. Yeah, it's just mostly um, babysitting. Do you have advice to where to begin with anatomy? I'm at the point where I can't avoid it any longer. Why are you at the point where you can't avoid it? I'm just curious. What makes you think that? How often have you heard 6-7? It's actually getting less now, like, but a couple hundred times at least. I don't get triggered by it. It's just like you're wasting like instruction time if you just come to class and you spam 6-7. I mean, if you can concentrate, that's great, but other students can't concentrate, so. What do you teach them kids? It depends on the day of the week, I guess. Sometimes they're focused, sometimes they are about as locked in as a box of wet tissue. So, um, really depends on them. But sometimes I teach them how to mix color, teach them how to clean brushes or see color more accurately. But um, that's like the ideal situation. You have a preference for pen pressure stabilization? One out of 100 stabilization. Pen pressure, I do default. Hmm. Difficult to draw the blur and the glow at the same time. I could use layers, but I don't want to. Mm. So the goal of this study is actually realism for once. So I'm gonna try to extract like any piece of logical information I can, like logic based or physics based information I can. No, I have background music on my site. I just can't play it because YouTube will just nuke me for um, the copyright. Advice for learning values. Always end up with muddy colors. Muddy colors. So like, are you doing value or colors? Okay, I think the big pieces are close to good. I wonder if I should turn the fire to be like blue or something to see if I understand how the color of fire works. Nah, I think I'll stick to. I think I should stick to the reference. Well, blue fire is either hot or it's a type of salt, right, in the fire. But it's not necessarily hot. Oh yeah, that was like couple days ago, 3 days ago. The hand was, I think it's like 90 minutes. I think I put 2 hours, but it was like about 90 minutes. Yeah, yeah, that one was 90. Uh, yeah, it's pretty much was a warm up, but um, it's like there's really for that one there's really no reason to push it much further because I'm not interested in rendering anyway. So it's not like the piece is not like I would say the piece is pretty much complete. There's not much I want to do on it aside from that. So um, it would be like like if I were to do a bigger piece, that would be like a study for a like to prep like a preparatory piece. If I really end up doing something like huge, but it's very rare for me to do that because I don't enjoy it. So Like rendering is not really an issue. I just except for like the maybe the patience aspect of it. But the the technicality of rendering is not difficult. I kind of want to put some texture on the stone. Okay, let me use the whatever brush. I kind of want to get used to using more layers, just for the convenience of workflow. Only because some of my work might require it soon. It slows me down a little bit in some aspects, but it speeds me up in certain rendering aspects. So maybe it's best if I just pick it up, like the habit. I mean, not the habit, but like the comfort of doing that. What do you learn from these studies, though? Is it just trying to get as close to the reference as possible? So right now, I'm learning how flames work and reflections, and there's another thing I wanted to practice, but that's in a little bit later. I want to see how the colors transition with different parts of the flame. Well, that was a very smooth lasso. Usually, it's not as nice as that. Usually, I don't one shot my lassos. Yeah, that was a natural 20 on the lasso. Ooh. Even if you retract the message, I know the all-in-one shampoo is still there. Can't get rid of it. $5,000. $78. You think I'm that young? Okay, so I think okay, let's think a little bit about why this does not look that great. I think it looks cartoony because there's not enough subtle information. Like, or there's like a bad distribution of information. So the shapes are clear, but the variations of the soft light is not. And the low contrast whatchamacallit, reflections are off. Um, I don't know if I want to explain it because it'll take a while. Bad distribution of information. Some places require more detail, and I didn't focus on it. There's certain things that we look for, like whether unconsciously or consciously, to establish like our assessment of realism, and I should be focused more on getting those down instead of evenly distributing the details, if that's my goal, if that makes sense. So, for example, these areas. I'm trying to think. Like, am I older than Photoshop? Back in my days, we didn't have Google.com. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I'm in my 30s. 30. No, it's an interesting I put this like phenomenon with people. Uh, like I would say my my age range, and then people would be like, "Oh, I'm so relieved because I thought you were like 12 or something, and then you're drawing like this." Um, like if you're doing commissions or whatever, like art field, they don't care how old you are. They only care what can you do now. Like it's not like you get a or it's not like they'll take it easier on you just because you started late or you're born after everything is already done, you know? So, what's the main goal? I was bored. Well, more like I was curious. I was curious what it was gonna be like, you know? I never felt bad because someone younger drew better than me or whatever at any given time. And I never felt better that I drew better than someone who's older at any given time. It's like more like the age doesn't really matter that much. Even how many years they drew doesn't really matter that much. What matters is like what can they do, and then is this something I want to do? If it is, then why am I not doing that? They could be 4,000 year old or 5 month old for all I care. I heard of stories of like people painting starting at like 51 51 or 52, and then they ended up painting beautiful oil paintings. Like, ooh, I better make sure I don't get stuck on the rendering for too long. That'll be not good. Something's something's like off. Hmm. Bit easier. No, it's not. No, it's not. I've taught like 5-year-old kids, and I can tell you, there's like it's a certain type of mindset that makes you learn faster, and it it's not really that age dependent. But if I have to pick an age, like let's say you have interest in learning, mm, I would guess like 20-year-old is like a like you're not debuffed by like the immaturity issue. Like you can set clear goals and pursue them and stuff. But I find kids that are younger than that, or like I'd say maybe younger than let's say 15, have an issue with like focus. It's like maybe they don't know what they want yet, and that's perfectly fine. But even if they did like decide, it's like unless they're forced to, I don't feel like they would put themselves like apply themselves fully, if that makes sense. But then someone who's like 20, at that point you've experienced some failures in life, and you're like, oh, I can't keep doing that. So you lock in. So it's actually good to start at that time. Like there's no downside. No, 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 not forced into careers. Well, that's why I don't force kids when I teach them, but like if they don't want to learn, then come back when you want to. But I'm saying a kid who keeps saying that they really want to learn art, even those um they end up not locking in because like they don't have a sense of like value of time yet, and they would only get that after certain setbacks like failures, and there's no way around it. Yeah, yeah, some people definitely value socializing in video games, and there's other hobbies. The like art is not like painting or drawing is not the only thing that's valid, obviously. In fact, there's other very, very good, arguably better hobbies, like if you play a sport or something. And I always recommend my students, like if you show interest in that, right, go there because then you'll get better value for your time. But I'm only strictly speaking of people who want to, like, they're like, oh, I don't want to do anything but draw, um, and I want to improve. Like, uh, I mean, it's hard to say if someone likes something enough, right? It's up to them. But I just mean by like whether or not it is enough. It's like I find it more common for older students to focus better and solve technical issues, whereas younger students in general is less likely to like lock in on the technical stuff. So what my point is, the trajectory of learning, like for adults, is actually like for let's say someone who's 20 and really want to learn is better than someone who's 12 and really want to learn, from what I've seen. Yeah, but then there's kind of a opposite side of that too. Like once you get much older and you have some experiences and there's like I don't know if it's a generation thing or a age thing. Like maybe it's just generational. They're more stubborn, so they don't take in advice after the certain exposures in life, and that makes them even worse with learning than someone who's 12. Um, because I would teach something like, oh, someone might want to learn landscape or how to draw people, but I would say, oh, like, okay, you need to learn form. We need to study geometric shapes, and like some older folks would just think, okay, like I don't need that. I've done that years ago, and I've mastered it. But even if that's the kind of like the missing piece, so then they get stuck. It's like, oh, just teach me how to draw people or teach me how to draw waterfalls. They just want to draw, like, learn how to draw waterfalls. Um, like I can, but then once you get to like, oh, how do you draw, like, how do you balance lighting? Like, that's not really a specifically waterfall thing. How do you feel about talent? I don't know yet. I think it exists and it affects things a little bit, but I think it only really matters at the like near the end. Like when you've maxed out everything that you can realistically, I think talent might play a bigger role there. But in the beginning, it really doesn't matter. Yeah, it might take you slightly longer than someone else to learn specific things, but that's like, oh, he has more talent in drawing water. Like, who cares, right? But in the end, it might matter. Like, if let's say you train for 20 years and they train for 20 years and they get really good at drawing a specific set of things, some people would say, oh, they're talented in that, even if you train the same way. Um, but you wouldn't know until you kind of get there. So it's not something I would worry about. And some of it I think comes down to like preference as well. So like not just like art style could be an art style of like storytelling, not like any technical thing. So that could be like some of that, like how well you tell stories could be considered talent. But I think it's still like a lot of it is a learned habit, so or a learned preference. It's just their preference is very works very well with like their set of preferences work very well with each other, and they're more suited for doing whatever they're doing. So it could be a head start, yeah. No, I think talent doesn't play as big of a role as people think, but it's definitely there. Yeah, but I think you can't really tell in most cases because let's say A works like has an effort of 10, B has an effort of like 8. I think talent will not close that gap. But if we're talking about like at the very end where both are going 10 out of 10 for their like for the last 30 years with like good instructions, then you can tell like a difference in talent, I think. Yeah, and honestly, 3 years, that's still not that much time. So let's say you practice for 3 years and you see someone who's practiced for 2 years and they're like better in some way, like some maybe like technical way. They're a little better, and you call it like, oh, they're just more talented. I'm like, yeah, but it's probably not a big deal because 2 versus 3 years is not like maybe to like if like a 12-year-old, maybe like a 15-year-old, it matters because they're like, oh, I'm only in he's only in 10th grade. I'm already in 12th grade and he draws better than me. I'm like, that doesn't really matter. It's like the difference is trivial at that point. It's not like sports, right? Like football, for example, like a 10th grader is going to be much smaller on average than a 12th grader. Where yeah, that would make a big difference, but art doesn't have that issue as much. Hmm. There's like this edge of the flame that looks like a plasma, whereas mine look like a sticker. Ah, okay. We'll figure this out together. Me and me, like myself. But like with self critiques. Okay, so the flame, right? The flame is really bright and then it gets darker. Like the part that gets saturated. The flame itself has color, but because it's overexposed, it's white. But as it goes to the edge of the flame, it gets lighter because there's not as much plasma stacked to each other. But once it drops off from the plasma, there's like a pretty clear drop off, I think. Like a, let me see if I can maybe airbrush. It's like a little bit more saturated. Yeah, I think that's what I needed. It's kind of tricky. I want to probably like switch hard and soft brushes. So I'll do the body of the flame. And then I think I'll have to do the edges of the flame soft. How do I pick colors? Well, I mean, you can think about how the flame works, and then you can also look at the reference, right? Just pick whatever color you see. You see the color, you put it in. Yes, yes, I have a reference. It's a study. I'm studying how fire works. I mean, I can probably paint like a pretty convincing fire at this point, but it's not enough. I use a few brushes, but they're my brushes, yeah. Like I would say this one I use maybe 4 brushes. Hmm. This part is not yellow enough. Control fire, what? If I start over as a beginner in art, what would I focus on first, and what stuff would you improve drastically? Oh, that's a great question, actually. It's a very interesting question. Uh, if I could mentor myself, for example, um, and starting from absolute zero, Charles Bark. Yeah, yeah. Two-dimensional observation accuracy is going to be like one of the biggest buff you can have. And then values, like shape and value first. Everything else can wait. So basically, um, how close? Like I take a picture, how close can I get the picture to look exactly the same without consideration for like perspective and all the fancy lighting terms and stuff? You're just straight one-to-one copy. Unclay, yeah, basically. I mean, unclay is just part of it. There's other ways to approach it. And I would get out of unclay like pretty quickly, like maybe a, for like if I was complete beginning and I mentor myself, I would get out of unclay in like a month. Because there's better ways to progress after that. I like broader concept. It's not like you ever get rid of unclays. How do I start applying fundamentals to my work? I know I study fundamentals, I just don't know why I'm learning them well. Depends what you're doing in your work right now. It's again one of those impossible questions to answer unless I see your work and stuff. Okay, so No, I don't really want to finish this yet. It just doesn't look the way I need it to look. I need to find out why. I don't know those names. Huh. Like something wrong with this area. This area. Okay. Like it just doesn't look like flames. Maybe it's the like how the flame gets terminated. Like how the enclosure of the plasma. I think there's a pretty clear cutoff, but um it's not a clear cutoff. It should be a clear cutoff. Should be a clear cutoff. Because the phase diagram for like, materials are pretty like there's a solid line for like what is or where the phase changes work. Hmm. Hmm. Would you not start with shape and form? What? What do you mean? Uh, I mean, I draw fairly fast, I think, but not obviously not as fast as speed paints. So this is what, how long has this been? This is an hour 30, hour 20, and hour 30. Something like that. Which is, this one's kind of slow, but I'm also taking my time. Because I'm trying to learn from it. I'm not trying to like speed through it. Shape. Charles Bark is shapes. Do you do line art while drawing full bodies? No. Ooh, there's like these little variations in temperature in the flame, and they have certain directionalities. I don't want to make it too cartoony. Like this is already getting a little bit. Well, that's a little better. It's a little better. Yeah, that's definitely better. Wow, the transition of the colors actually really like really subtle. That's more subtle than I thought. Okay. How do you self-study? You try to get as analytical as possible. You see how other artists are making their art, try to break it down. There's no playbook. Just kind of have to carve your own road. This is why like mentorships and classes and guides are recommended. So like if you follow an artist, they might have certain books that they can recommend and just follow those. You know, like oh Charles Bark, follow Charles Bark. Loomis, follow that. So I think I know how to add to this flame. There's a nice little trickery from Monet. The ultraviolet spectrum. I think we can play a little bit with that. Who do I think you mainly? I know a couple artists that I don't know one way or the other, but I see a couple of artists that have the same thought process or similar, and I will study them all. How do you get a fire sink? Well, first you need a sink. Duh. Okay, so I'm guessing it's this color. I'll stream in the future too, yeah. Something I'm trying to do, but I'm not doing it very well. Okay, so I'll try something first. So there's a crack on my phone. Yes, this is Clip Studio. So there's a crack on my phone. I'm gonna draw the crack. Let me find it. The crack itself has to be really sharp. Uh, there we go. And then I don't know how to do this, but I think. Oh wait, I have an idea. It's actually not thin enough. Mm. Trying to look at how the scratch looks like, or the crack looks like on my phone. Oh man, it's like blue, red. It's so small on my phone that I can't really see it very well. Mhm. So there's 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What? Okay. What? Oh. Yeah, it's a crack. Oh man, there's like little. I put this. Maybe maybe I do this. Wait. So I'm trying to get the anti-aliasing of the red and blue shift. So like the line itself is red and blue because it's splitting between the like it's catching the light from each of the subpixels. I think that's how it works. Okay, so that should be good. Okay. So these dots would only show up if the dots in the back were actually casting color. So in the darker areas, it wouldn't show up as much. So in the flame area, I think it would be pretty bright. I make this more convincing because these have depth. What if? Ooh, so I think I need to dim the edge a little bit. Because if someone was seeing this on the screen or on their phone or something, I wouldn't want the crack to run all the way to the end of the picture because then they would think they would know it's the crack on the photo or on the image. Uh, but if it doesn't run all the way to the end, then they would just think that they can't see the end of the crack. Right? Is that logic good? Hopefully that's obvious enough. Yeah, there we go. All right, I'm gonna turn off the stream soon. I wonder which side the crack should be on.